Hi guys, how's it going? It's time for another week in DSP. This is for the last week of October, starting on October 29th. I made a joke earlier that I wasn't going to need to make a video because King of Beggars on Twitter summed up the week with the chargeback scare, the total victory tweet, the Tevin rant, and the Tevin rant part 2. But I of course didn't want to fall out of the good habit that I've built. I've been doing this since July and I want to keep doing it. Let's start things off with the schedule as always. Monday the 29th is Phil's day off. The 30th, he played Red Dead Redemption 2, and then Call of Duty Black Ops 4 Blackout in the evening. I did restream that one as well. You can catch that on my channel. Wednesday was the Halloween special, and that's where a lot of this week's drama and news comes from. Thursday was Red Dead Redemption 2 with Assassin's Creed Odyssey in the evening. Friday was more Red Dead Redemption 2 with Forza 4 in the evening. Saturday was Red Dead Redemption with Dragon Quest XI in the evening. And Sunday was Red Dead Redemption with no second stream. It's pretty obvious to me that he's trying to finish Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm not sure what games are coming out later on this month or next month that he's trying to clear out his schedule for. But this is something that I thought Phil needed to do for games like Dragon Quest XI, where the game can take up to probably 300, 400 parts for him. It's a very long JRPG game. I'm surprised he's not giving Assassin's Creed Odyssey the same treatment. You can also see my note at the bottom of the page there. For multiple weeks in a row, he spelled holidays, H-O-I-L-D-A-Y-S. What a professional. It's reminiscent of earlier in this year where he would have PDT/PDT for the start times of his streams. It took him several weeks to get it fixed to PDT/EDT. But if you remember from last week where someone pointed out he had his Red Dead Redemption 2 uploads mistitled on YouTube and he kind of blew off the person not believing them, then proceeded to blame his chat for not telling him about it earlier. So do you let him keep making the same mistakes or do you try to correct him and get shit on? I mean, making a minor mistake like this one time is no big deal, but to keep making the same mistake week after week is kind of inexcusable. This is someone who says he works extremely hard at his job, but he can't be meticulous to cover up these little details. The other thing I noticed while I was recording this is look at how many times he says the phrase live streaming. My October schedule for live streaming. Join me for daily live streams. Tuesday is the Red Dead Redemption 2 live stream. Blackout live stream. Live stream, live stream, live stream. It's like Final Fantasy VII up in here with all the live stream references. So Sunday, Phil reported that he had bought the Nightmare Burger from Burger King and he was recording and editing DSP Tries It in the evening. That's why he couldn't do a second stream last week. Very early on Monday, it looked like Phil had changed his profile picture, but he got the new picture from someone tweeting it at him. The original picture is from Fresh to Death on Kiwi Farms, and he had been rocking that avatar probably since as long as I've been making these videos, maybe even longer. It wasn't until after the change did he finally realize where the picture was taken from. So the obvious timeline is a fan sends him a picture, he thinks it's funny enough to change his profile picture to it, and then afterwards he comes up with the story of where the picture came from. But it's from 2016, so it's a 2-year-old picture at this point. Thankfully it did not last long. He changed his profile picture to match his Halloween costume on Wednesday. Now remember, with it being Phil's day off on Monday, there isn't a whole lot to go off of. But yesterday, he had tweeted out a twit longer explaining that someone is attempting to charge back over $1,200. Now, of course, when Phil starts streaming on Tuesday, everyone is excited to hear Phil's side of it, straight from the pig's mouth. He goes on a long rant about how Tut is stealing money from him that he rightfully earned.
Basically, you can't violate the rules. I don't care how much you've contributed. No one's above the rules. Because then we don't have a safe environment anymore for people to chat. So either you abide by the rules or you're out of here. Okay, I don't know what's going on with you. Why all of a sudden you're doing this nasty stuff in stream chat, threatening mods, asking to be banned, acting like a weirdo basically. But I can't have it, you know. And so basically, he placed over $1,200 of tips that he had given me since way back when, since August. So over 2 month span that he'd been tipping me on the streams, he placed them all on an alert for fraud with PayPal. Now, for those of you who aren't aware how PayPal works, there's 2 ways that you can try to dispute something, okay? You can either say, I sent someone money via PayPal and they didn't live up to the bargain. And usually this is for an eBay transaction. I sent money and they were supposed to ship me an item. They didn't ship me the item. Usually PayPal will side with the person who sent the money in that case. However, since tips on streams are not eBay transactions and there's literally no evidence of any kind of a financial transaction taking place, PayPal will almost always side with the streamer in that case. And I know for a fact, I can tell you, over the years that I've done this and accepted tips, I've won every single time that's happened as a dispute like that. I've won every one, and I always keep the money, all right?
Now, I don't care which guy wins the dispute. If Phil gets the money, good for him. It keeps him around a little bit longer for us to laugh at. If Tut keeps the money, then DSP is most likely going to spurg out on a begging video. But they're both idiots. For Phil to think that he did any work to earn that money is ridiculous. All Phil did was what he did any other day of the week, and that was stream games. Sometimes it was Street Fighter V, sometimes it was Dark Souls. He actually played a lot of Street Fighter V in the hopes that he would get King Tut to come back and watch the streams. It's kind of shitty of Tut to give support and pretend to be a fan, and then turn around and pull that money away from Phil. We've seen other detractors try to do the same thing in the past, and according to Phil, he's won every dispute. However, Phil was not the only person to get any support from King Tut. Low Tier God was another streamer who got a few gifted subs and some tips from King Tut as well. And King Tut tried to charge him back as well. Low Tier God reported that he won all of the disputes that King Tut filed against him. So that meant Low Tier God get to keep the money. So I'm willing to believe that Phil got to keep a lion's share or all of the money that King Tut tried to take back from him. Again, I don't care either way who wins. People who throw money at Phil, you're allowed to do it, whether you're a fan or you're a detractor. I think if you're someone who's a detractor / A-logger, it seems kind of silly to throw money at Phil, especially since he's not going to say anything ridiculous on stream anymore. He barely answers questions and interacts with chat at this point as it is. He barely responds to tips and cheers as it is already. He just wants you to say how good of a job he's doing and attach a quarter to the message. Phil posted on Instagram that he got a physical copy of a game that he wanted to play for the Halloween Marathon. Now, what's interesting about this game is it's a game that none of the patrons voted on. It's supposedly a game that Phil really, really wanted to play. So much so that he had to buy it on Amazon and was worried it wasn't going to arrive in time. Now, we have no idea how much money Phil actually spent on the game, but we know the title and we know he bought it on Amazon. So a quick search allows me to see that he can buy it new at $69 and he can buy it used from $23. Keep in mind, this is a game that he's going to play just this one time, and no one voted for him to play it. He superseded the Patron's Choice vote and picked the game himself. Without jumping too far ahead, the reason why I'm going so hard on this copy of Silent Hill Shattered Memories is because he rage quit it in like 20 or 30 minutes of the Halloween Marathon. This is just another example to further prove my theory of Phil's ability to only look at the short-term gains. Supposedly, he has a big tax bill due at the end of the year, but instead of saving up for it, he's going to buy a game that he's only going to play 30 minutes of and spend anywhere from $25 to nearly $70 on. This is a guy who doesn't even have a rainy day fund, even though he thinks a rainy day fund is for when you're feeling sad, not for when you have financial emergencies. But that's a separate case altogether. This guy has absolutely no foresight and no planning beyond the next week or month. Phil reported during his blackout stream that he won the chargebacks with PayPal and got to keep all of the money. Now, of course, he didn't send out those tweets until after his blackout gameplay was over, but I wanted to touch on it before we get into the blackout gameplay. Or I would if he was actually intelligent enough to, again, have any fucking foresight to check the game for any updates anytime during the morning pre-stream, anytime during his 2-hour break, or anytime during his 40-minute evening pre-stream where he was bitching about TUT and PayPal chargebacks. Instead, we're treated to a 10-minute progress bar for the download, and then watching Phil sit there for 30 minutes as the patch was installed on his PlayStation. The whole time, he's reading tips and cheers, complaining about TUT, complaining about the game releasing such a major patch, and threatening to end the stream early. If I'm not mistaken too, he also said he could have gone a little bit later this evening, but instead chose to just give us only an hour and a half of gameplay. It did kind of drag on my restream a little bit because he wasn't doing anything, so there was nothing to commentate on. My plan B, though, was to actually stream myself playing Blackout, if nothing else. This really adds to my theory that Phil only works, quote unquote, during the times that he has listed. During the day that YouTube was down, I want to say that was a week or two ago, he tried to upload his WWE 2K19 gameplays from earlier that day during the evening pre-stream, instead of doing it during the 2 hours while he was away on break and coming back before or during the pre-stream and typing in his descriptions and tags and titles. October 31st, Halloween, the big special event that Phil's been talking about for 2 months now. We start an hour late, and with the shitty plastic sound effect toy, Phil introduces the costumes as him in Bob Ross and Kat wearing some steampunk outfit. As pointed out by Skippy Longbottom, he started an hour late, of course, and he takes multiple 10 to 20 minute breaks. So he's going to do what he can to shave off at least another hour of gameplay. Plus, there's the downtime of him switching between games, including switching between consoles. So much for a 7-hour marathon. We probably maybe got, I don't know, maybe 5 hours of gameplay. Actually, I went back and counted up the videos. It was 5 hours of gameplay, which is less than a normal day of streaming for him, because I believe he streams for 4 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the evening. One of the juiciest bits from the Halloween marathon was when Kat didn't come back from one of the breaks. Now, Phil had told us before that she probably wasn't going to be able to stay the whole time, but instead, when he starts the DSP tries it of the Nightmare King from Burger King, he goes off on Tevin.
The Dark Occult, they changed the name of the game completely. I don't know why. Whoa. Way off. Glad that I'm testing this first. What we're going to do, guys, as we're coming back here from break, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do DSP Tries It. Because I told you guys I was going to do that after I finished Saw 2, but I forgot to do it before I ran the commercial break. Alright, so we're going to do that first. We're going to do DSP Tries It. And then we're going to do whatever this is, the Conjuring House, the Cult, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Because it has 2 different names now. Okay. And then we're going to be taking one final break, and we're going to do some Dead by Daylight to end it. Okay. Roughly, we're going to end between 7:30 p.m. tonight. FYI. Maybe on the earlier side. I don't really feel like going super long tonight. Some people earlier were asking what happened to Kat. Bottom line is, she's, basically bummed out that so many people were trolling. And it sucks, because I knew that was going to happen. As I've told you guys, previously, Kat has nothing to do with myself or my content or any of the negativity associated with me. And she thought, this would be something nice to do, to dress up for Halloween and come by the stream and hang out with everyone. And the excessive amount of trolling that was going on basically got to her, and she says, I want to go do other stuff. I've been here for 2 games, and I'm not in a good mood anymore, and I want to go do other stuff. So she did, basically. She went on, she's actually not even home right now. She wanted to leave because she was in such a bad mood. And it sucks, because I would, Honestly, if the trolling wasn't so bad and if things weren't so nasty, she probably would be in my stuff a lot more often. But that's the reason why she really hasn't been in anything, because the trolling got so nasty. You know, stuff about stupid shit, you know, about her looks, about her past, stuff that has nothing to do with anything going on. And, you know, it pisses me off because this is something special that we were building up and talking about for weeks and weeks, and she was really excited for it, and she went and got a costume for it and everything. And here she is trying to, she was going to start doing commentary. The first thing she sees when she looks at stream chat is trolling and nasty shit about her. And it totally turned her off. And basically after 2 games, she was like, I just don't want to be there anymore. And I was like, all right, you know, I'm not going to make you. You know, if you really are upset, you know, it sucks. And I just want to say thanks to the mods. The mods are doing a good job today. I don't want the mods to feel like they didn't do a good job or whatever. They did. Like when it was happening, I saw they were shutting it down fast. But, you know, there's nothing much else that we can do. You know, there's a sick motherfucker on the internet called Tevin who likes to illegally restream my fucking streams and has an army of fucking trolls who are the only reason why he has any notoriety is because he copies my shit, and he eggs his trolls on to do negative shit like this, to come to my stream and to basically make fun of my girlfriend and do nasty shit. It's his fault that this kind of stuff happens, and anyone who supports that kind of fucking content is a mentally ill asshole who has no fucking conscience or morals. And the bottom line is the only reason he does it is because he knows he can get away with it because YouTube won't shut down his streams, even though what he does is completely illegal. They don't care. YouTube does not give a shit. So he runs away, can't do it on Twitch anymore. He's banned from Twitch from doing it. So now he has to go other places where basically it's like the Wild West and they won't listen and they won't shut down stuff that's illegal or bullying or you know, that kind of stuff. You know, and it sucks because we were looking forward to today a lot. And basically after 2 games, she was so upset. She was like, I just don't want to do this anymore. I'm not having fun because I can't. If I say a word, people criticize me about anything that I say, my looks, and, you know, I just don't want to do it anymore. So, it sucks, you know. But it is what it is. You have complete fucking utter losers on the internet who will insult people who've never done a damn thing to hurt anyone. And it makes me angry, and it obviously upsets her. But there's nothing we can do to control it, and I apologize for that, guys. You know, it is what it is. And, you know, we just got to move on. What else can I say, right?
Now, I know Tevin isn't a part of the Detractor community. He's like a lone wolf detractor, and he has a large following around him of people who do belong to the community at large, or who just follow Tevin because he's got kind of his own culture going on. But I've watched Tevin's streams, and he's never called for any sort of targeted trolling beyond doing, hey, go press 1 in Dave's chat. And that's it. Tevin did a larger stream about this yesterday, so I'm not going to go too heavy into this bit of news. I'll instead refer you guys to his channel, where I believe he still has the stream up. A lot of other channels even reported on the bit and have the sound clips out there, because obviously Phil did not keep this VOD alive on Twitch and he did not put it out to YouTube. Now, of course, after the long Tevin rant, he premieres the Nightmare King DSP Tries It. And it spawned a couple more memes because it gave us a close-up shot of Phil with a normal quality camera. And he looks even worse. I thought about including the entire clip here in the video, because it is kind of short, and I thought about adding some running commentary to it. However, I don't want to run the risk of being content ID'd by having literally his whole video put into the middle of this video. So instead, I'm just going to include a link to it in the description as I always do. I will figure out the YouTube cards as well, and maybe you can click on it from the video. Give him those views. He needs your help. He needs your pennies from that ad revenue. He really does, to pay his bills. Now, of course, with it being October 31st, that means it's the end of the month. So actually has the month-end numbers of Phil's pre-tax, pre-fee take-home money. It's still a good amount, but it looks like he is kind of hurting without having King Tut's whale money boosting those numbers to record highs. So come November 1st, Phil is still ranting and raving about Tevin. He compares the trolling to terrorism.
stream and make extra money. What the fuck are you talking about, right? That's number one, okay? Number two, talk about victim blaming. So it's my girlfriend's fault that people insulted her on the stream because she chose to be on the stream? What? What the fuck are you talking about? No, I'm sorry, but the internet, Twitch streams, YouTube streams are not supposed to be a place where there's fucking constant attacks, nastiness, and basically terrorism when you really think about it. Because in reality, that's like saying, oh, well, it's your own fault that you went to the airport and someone bombed it, right? It's your own fault. It's your own fucking fault that, you know, your kid went to school today and a gunman just came to the school and shot everyone up. Because they really put themselves out there when they fucking did that. Think how fucked up that logic is. That's insane. That's absolute apologist, victim-blaming bullshit. And I'm not going to allow that to happen and have people say that.
And when you try to point out that it's Phil's fault for putting Kat in that environment, especially when Phil says he knows that trolling was going to happen, he says that's victim blaming. He also tries to defend and say that he wasn't putting Kat on the stream just to get money. However, a lot of cheers came through in the very beginning saying how beautiful Kat was and saying, oh, thank you, Kat, for coming onto the stream. So basically just trying to reward and positively reinforce her for coming on there. I can't believe I said positive. Phil's kind of ruined that word at this point, don't you think? He also promised that she was going to be there, promised her being in costume. So he kind of advertised her and used her as a mascot or a driving force to say, go sign up on my Patreon so you can vote on this event. Friday, November 2nd, a shit pie on Kiwi Farms shows us that he made the Red Dead Redemption 2 artwork for Phil's pre-stream. And he reveals to us the memes that he snuck in on the bottom left-hand corner. Also, on the Tumbleweed forums, as archived by Dyth Flu, Wolf is retiring from the forum and from DSP. He leaves kind of some fair criticism, but basically says, fuck you, DSP, I'm not going to post here until something interesting happens again. Now, what's really interesting here, as posted by Wing Zero, is Phil's response, where he says that this is like the 10th patron to discontinue support and wants to have, I guess, their 5 seconds of fame according to Phil, but I think they're like legit fans trying to give just a teeny bit of advice back to Phil before they go away for good. Who knows? I just think it's really great that he has the patron's title on the forum as a well-respected patron, but the second the guy expresses his interest in discontinuing support, Phil is quick to dump on him. You would also think, too, that if this isn't the first guy to do this, that maybe Phil should take a fucking hint and see why people are leaving. Saturday, November 3rd, his mainstream viewership is in the 200s. This is his day stream, the 4-hour-long stream, where he can usually pull in maybe twice, maybe 3 times as many numbers, and it's a Saturday, so not a lot of people are working, and no one's at school, and Phil can only pull 250, 270 people watching him play the hot game, Red Dead Redemption 2, the game that's supposed to save his channel and reinvigorate people's interest in Darkside Phil. I really want to take a moment here to point out that Phil really needs to stop chasing the AAA titles. He doesn't have the followership on Twitch to make it to the first page of Twitch on any title on any day that it releases. There's a lot of other variety streamers. There's tons of competition on Twitch. And you have to have tens of thousands of viewers, at least thousands of viewers, to be in the running for that prestigious spot. This is a strategy that worked on YouTube because it allows you to get on the algorithm pretty early on. However, Phil hasn't thought about how to change his strategy from one platform to the other. Something that works on YouTube doesn't directly translate over to working on Twitch. However, if a new game came out and it's a game, I don't know, like Fortnite, something that has tons of replayability, and you plan on playing it 3, 4, 5 times a week, then yeah, keep sticking it in there and get on it first if you plan on playing it every day throughout the week. The point behind that is to build up consistency and become a person's go-to streamer for that particular title, for that new release. But there's a lot of competition on Red Dead Redemption 2. He didn't get it early on, as he's quick to point out. He didn't get a review copy. And there's also people who want to play the game for themselves because it has a single-player story element to it. Now, something like Blackout, that's a game that has replayability, is different every time, and there's a lot of people, even variety streamers, who are picking up that title and starting to make themselves go-to Blackout streamers. Now, Blackout hasn't toppled Fortnite yet. It probably won't, let's be honest. But it's got a decent fellowship, and if Phil got in on that game early and played it consistently, maybe more than once a week, as he currently is doing right now, he might actually build up a viewership or a base of people that come to watch Blackout, and he could probably gain some viewership and start climbing up the Twitch ranks. Now, this isn't super big news, but I do kind of like how it emphasizes and shows how Phil is very bad at interacting with his chat. Someone in chat was talking about their favorite Disney movies. Obviously, they're not talking about the game there, Phil. And Phil reads the chat and sees that a bunch of people said Lion King. Then goes back to ignoring the chat. He doesn't interject and add his own favorite. He doesn't try to become part of his chat's conversation. His chat needs to conversate about himself in order for him to get into it. He does not instead look at where chat is going and try to get in with it, which is what a truly interactive streamer would do. If his chat is talking about anything, anime, music, whatever, he could get in there and talk about those topics. But instead, he has to be directly asked about the topic before he gets in on it. Is he mentally handicapped? Is a great question to ask from Soap Queen 1. Welcome back to Kiwi Farms. Now, this bit here is some news. Haunter pointed out that King Jezel was lurking during Dragon Quest XI. Now, if you guys don't remember, King Jezel was a supporter for Phil a long time ago. Probably one of the original whales. But during the whole Vidar Viking exceptional detective threatening to dox users of Phil's King of Hate forums, King Jezel got scared and ran away. Which is fair. I think there's a lot of people who are scared of being doxed, and you see a lot of the A-loggy Detractor stuff that happens around Phil. Best not get caught up in it. So it's a safe move. However, it's not until November 4th, in a conversation with King Jad VCMP, and I don't want to steal his gold dust, so I only have a screenshot of his post to the Kiwi Farms. If you want to read the whole conversation, click on over to the Kiwi Farms and read it. But it's basically Jezel explaining that he lurks, he doesn't participate, he doesn't chat anymore. It's probably a nostalgic feeling for him. He's probably been a long-time follower, and he just can't let go of Phil just yet. F in chat. I want to end Sunday with a post from Nothing I Can Do. This is a screenshot of Phil's Patreon, and it's showing that he's lost some patrons and his earnings are down. This just goes to further show how Phil is circling the drain. His average daily Twitch views are down. His YouTube views, monthly views are down, and that's what he gets paid on from YouTube. His subscriptions on YouTube are up. His subscriptions on Twitch are all over the place. They are trending downwards. And now his Patreon is half of what it used to be. It's down to $600, and it could get even lower, I'd imagine, because he doesn't push it a whole lot and he doesn't support it. He doesn't have anything worth throwing money at him for. The only thing he says is, yeah, support my Patreon just so that way I can keep doing this as a job and I don't have to go work a real job. That's really the only thing that he gives you, is he borderline holds his content hostage and uses his Patreon as an option for that. Not to mention the double/triple dipping that Patreon does for him. Oh, if I hit my sub goal and you're a Patreon supporter, so that's $5 to sub, $5 to Patreon so you can vote, I'll do a gameplay stream. If it's part of a marathon, I'll play it for 30 minutes. If it's not part of a marathon, I'll do a full playthrough of it. I don't know how he makes that decision. And then I'll upload all that to YouTube, and it can't be a Nintendo game because I want to monetize it. So I want to get paid 3 times to play the game that you want to see me play. Okay, guys, that about does it. I tried to stretch this out a little bit longer to try to get it to the old video length of between 30 minutes and an hour, but I still did it the old style. However, since this was taking a little bit longer, I got a little bit lazier near the end. It looks like I won't be able to record this in one day going forward if I want to keep the same level of quality. So you guys are still going to hear maybe a couple of hiccups, maybe a couple of inhales, and maybe a couple of stutters. I'm just pressed for time on getting this video out in time and couldn't edit it all out. So I hope it's still good. I'm just going to have to work with my schedule and try to have a day where I get all the thumbnails made, have a day where I record some things, get the videos put together, and just do it throughout the week as opposed to trying to cram it all in on a Monday night. Anyways, let me know what you guys thought in the comment section below. I hope to see you guys in the next video or stream, and I'll catch you later.